It had no defrost. It had no working wiper blades. The windows were always down, even in like the rain or snow because of condensation buildup. I would have to drive with my head out the window.
Yep.
Just like a dog so I could see.
Welcome back to another episode of Modify with TrickFactory Customs. If this is your first time watching or listening, my name is Elvis.
Tim. Dustin.
You haven't used that one before. That was good.
Because I was reflecting on the last one where you guys were calling me out on my laziness.
Yeah, sweet.
So yeah, that one was a lazy.
Dustin from
choice.
Creative, but
yeah, true. Yeah, I need to get some more ethnic names.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try.
If it's the first time watching, we are a custom automotive shop based here in British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver. And we love to talk about cars. And so we started this podcast. And on this episode, we are going to be discussing how to identify if your car is a shitbox.
there's a lot of people that probably don't know their car is a shitbox.
Yes.
So they're probably going to have a moment of realization here during this conversation.
Yes. And so we are going to be defining what a shitbox is.
We're going to be defining a shitbox. Yeah. Pretty safe to assume we've all had a shitbox at least once.
I do right now. And I'm sure we could say the same thing. And if you're not a car enthusiast and you happen to stumble upon this podcast and you're like, what is a shitbox? Well, in short definitions, or what made me think about this topic was whenever I try to start my car, whenever someone else tries to drive my car, I always give them instructions. I'm like, ooh, it's like almost like a pre-flight checklist.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to turn the key to this part. You have to press this button under the dash. You have to turn off this button. You have to make sure you don't wiggle the steering anyway, or else the steering wheel will fall off. All of these little, not that it's exactly those things.
Yeah.
But that made me think about this topic.
I don't know if that definitely classifies as a true shitbox, though.
No.
I think that's borderline.
Okay.
Because at least there's only a startup procedure. A true shitbox, I don't think in your own, you would let anybody else drive it.
Oh, wow.
Well, I
so
think
it's that bad.
for strong morality.
Yeah, morality.
Reasons at least.
That's a real, no.
Safety caution. Oh,
and so we're going to be discussing all of that. And also, just a heads up, we're pretty much all sick. No, Tim and I are sick.
Yeah, we're definitely.
Rob is fine. He's not sick at all.
Immune to sicknesses.
Yes, you might hear some coughs and some random things happening, but it's fine. We're doing this podcast for you guys. So, yeah. So how has the week been for everyone? What's been going on? I know it's been very busy as usual.
Kind of busy, but everybody's been sick, so it doesn't feel like it was busy. It feels
True.
like everyone's been dragging their asses. But
yeah.
But it was a crazy week.
Yeah.
Well, it's the week post the Vancouver Tattoo Show that goes on every year that we do, and that's a pretty stressful event for a lot of you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, long weekends, not a lot of sleep. Because
if you guys don't know, we run, or Tim and Kara pretty much run the Vancouver Tattoo Show, or the Vancouver Tattoo and Culture Show. And so it just happened this past weekend, and it was amazing. There were thousands of people. It was long, like every day I just saw a line of people because we were also at it. I was filming it, a lot of it. Yeah. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to see all the really cool tattoos and all of that stuff. So but you guys whenever I think of that, I think it's going to be a whole corporation or like 50 people on a board discussing or running the show. But it's literally just you guys.
Like a handful of people that put it on.
Which blows my mind. And it seemed to be successful. Like it went
really well.
Yeah. So
run smooth. We got it pretty dialed though. This is our 13th consecutive year.
Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. So, that's pretty awesome.
And then moving into the new shop and getting that rolling. So but pretty much the whole crew worked the tattoo show.
Yeah, pretty much. So after we're done with work here, we pretty much just went to the tattoo show. And so that was a lot of fun.
So
yes,
I think being exposed to thousands and thousands of people, we definitely picked up something.
Yep, everyone got
us
sick.
All down. Yeah, so that's the downside of those types of events. But but we didn't get COVID.
True, that's good. Yeah,
I just got a plain old regular cold.
That's good. That's very good. But yeah, so with that said, we're just gonna dive right into the topic of discussion, which is
Shit boxes.
yes. So
How do you identify or
yeah. So first of all, what is a shit box? I'm gonna give the dictionary definition. There is actually a dictionary.
Really? I'm excited.
I did some research
I can't wait
here.
to hear this.
So, but this is from Urban Dictionary, so take it with a grain of salt. But they said a shit box is a vehicle with one or more of the following features: a rebuilt or a salvage title, a spare tire, rim, or donut. I don't understand that part. A cracked. Oh, I see what they mean. If you're driving around
on it, yeah,
24/7.
That's like your actual wheel.
Yeah, a cracked windshield, broken window motor, garbage bag on one of the or more of the windows, exhaust leaks, squealing belt, bad there's a whole list of things. But I just wanted to like do some not really research, but just wanted to see what everyone else thinks about shit boxes or what a shit box is. And so in you guys' definition, what's a
I mean, by definition, I think we all drive one of those right now, one way or another. But yeah, I would imagine like my definition would include like definitely like rust holes in the panels.
Oh yeah,
you know, blown out shocks, cars bouncing all over the road, mismatched wheels, perhaps. You know, no defrost. I'm reflecting. I'm reflecting on a vehicle that I used to drive as a daily. You know, and had pretty much all that. But yeah, so definitely, yeah.
If I had to describe it and stick to the car community, I'd say straight piped. Cheap coilovers, gutted interior.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
mismatched wheels.
Okay, so for you, a shit box doesn't necessarily mean an old car. It's more of the things, the modifications you do to your car.
I think you turn your car into a shit box.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
because you could just have a shitty car and not be able to maintain it. You're not doing it intentionally. That's a circumstance.
True.
If you turn your car into a shit box, I think that happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
Cutting coils, mismatched wheels and tires, you know, straight piping it, doing that kind of goofy shit, that's turning your car into a shit box.
Yeah. I agree halfway, but not completely, because like, for example, you can do all of those things to a brand new M3. You can be like, I'm just going to cut the springs. They use air.
Box.
Yeah.
But you can
but like, just because the car was fantastic from the factory, if you do all those really hokey mods to it, you literally turned a great car into a shit box.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for real.
So I initially had a thought of like, okay, a shit box, first of all, it should be, I feel like, a certain price range. Like, I don't know if a shit box, at least to me, should be an expensive car or can be something actually like, oh, wow, made in the last 10 years? No?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Really?
No,
I've seen some good cars turned into shit boxes.
Okay.
Look at any, like, what I consider a good car, like any kind of late 90s, early 2000s Mercedes, big body Mercedes. Those things get turned into shit boxes all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Those are good cars.
Yeah. Yeah, we see it often where we live here, right? Because there's a lot of luxury cars here, but there's a lot of people trying to come up as well. So as soon as those amazing cars become affordable, they go down through like levels of people coming up through the ranks.
Types of owners.
And like, you know, it goes down a few tiers, and then all of a sudden, like Joe Schmo that's, you know, doing whatever.
And you see stuff where
turns it into a shit box.
They can't afford the OE parts, so they start switching out, you know, OE suspensions and putting in the $300 coilovers.
Yeah.
Big heavy wheels, and then they want to make it loud, so they cut all the exhaust out.
Yeah.
Put big crazy stereos, and they're cutting holes and shit, and it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before you guys attack us, we're also guilty of a lot of these things too, at least on previous builds. I currently have some of my builds that are also shit boxes too. Case in point, my Datsun is a massive pile of poo. Literally.
Well, I mean, you said it, pal.
Yeah. Got it stocked. Literally cut the whole car up. Like, I used the cheapest paints possible.
Yeah.
We were literally just talking about it today.
Yeah.
And like 4 years down the line, it's like looking not very good. It hasn't weathered well, I'll say that. I didn't spray it with clear coat. I didn't know a lot about automotive anything when I did that car. I just wanted a car that looked cool.
Yeah.
And so I did all the wrong things when I built that car. And now I'm like, oh yeah, this thing is a piece of crap. And even the drive too.
That may be true, but you do get credit for at least finishing it to a point where you could drive it. So kudos to you for that. It's just unfortunate that it does not stand the test of time.
No, it did not. And even same thing with the coilovers too. I got the cheapest coilovers that I initially, when I was younger, I was like, it doesn't matter if the car drives terrible. Once it's low, that's all that matters to
look
me.
Good.
Yeah. You don't have to perform. You just look good.
That's a metric for a lot of people for their builds.
Yeah. Very, very superficial. And now it's like, everywhere I go, it's just bouncing.
You know, it's rough because you used those same coilovers that I had bought at one point for an E46.
You did?
Yeah, max speeding rods off eBay. Buddy, they're only a couple $100, man. Like, why not?
They'll function for a day or two.
They suck. they literally suck. Don't buy those. No, they suck.
Yeah. And back to like what we originally think about this topic, and you disagreed a little bit, but when I was about to drive my car, and I was like, for me, that's like the most indicator or the top indicator of a ShitBox is if my wife, for example, wants to drive my car. I'm like, okay, before you drive this car, you have to do a pre-flight checklist, like you said, and like different random things that you have to do. You have to check oil. You have to make sure there's oil that's not leaked all over the driveway. You have to make sure the keys turned perfectly well. You have to press, there's a button underneath. I'm actually just giving people the way to steal my car if you want to. But there's like 3 different ways or 3 different, it's an operating procedure you have to go before you can start the car.
Yeah.
And it's like the ignition is kind of like hanging down right now. And so you can technically use anything to start it. I'm like, oh gosh, I know. I am getting like all the fixes for all these things. But like right now as it sits, then leaks as well inside the car. Like all the gaskets are pretty much like leaking.
I think that once you mature, and I'm sure Rob can attest to this, you get to a point where you make sure that the wife's car is always perfect.
Yes.
So that she never has to drive your car ever.
Very true.
You don't want to have to explain why your car is a shitbox. I can't explain why my car was a shitbox because I build cars for a living. So that's not a conversation like, why is that broken? Why don't you fix that? Why don't you do that? That's what I do all day, every day, man.
Yeah, it's like the typical like mechanics car. They're like, never buy a mechanics car because that is, you would think that a mechanics car is like the best example of a car that you're trying to buy, but no, it is literally the opposite.
I think they know exactly what they can get away with and how far long they can get away with it for.
Yeah. You're like, it's fine. It's fine. Just neglect the thing. It's like, it's not going to keep me on the side of the road stranded.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it goes for all different trades, right? Paint, body, mechanics, all of that. You're just like, nah, man, I don't want to. I just busted my ass all day doing this. I don't want to do that now.
Yeah.
So. But.
And so, what are some memorable ShitBoxes that you guys have had that you're like, and some of the features that they've had that made them ShitBoxes?
Well, probably the shittiest car I ever had was my Datsun.
Okay.
Actually, all my Datsuns have been ShitBoxes.
There's a trend here. Also Datsun.
Oh, man. The first one was epic. It had all the problems.
Okay. Start listing
and the
them
more
off.
we fixed it, the worse it got.
So what was wrong?
Well, the heater didn't work, so we fixed the heater one time, turned the heater on, smoke started pouring out of the dash. So we had heat, but it was from a different fuel source.
It was from a different fuel source.
They had so many goofy things wrong with it.
Oh my gosh! Like whenever you got it, did you have to do a starting sequence or no?
Not to the level that you're discussing.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a couple. It's like starting a small block Chevy. You pump it 3 times and hit the key. You pump it 4 times, you're probably going to flood it. You're going to be there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a very specific sort of start procedure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Datsun you're just lucky if it started each time.
Oh wow.
So you never took that thing if you needed to be where you were going.
I remember that car only just vaguely, but I remember seeing the wiring on occasion, and it seemed like you and your dad or your homies were always fucking doing
Wasn't me. I didn't know how to wire
some
anything.
sort of jank
get
fix.
in there, and that's probably why I'm so anal about wiring now, because my dad was so bad at it. He would jump in there with a roll of wire, just one. Next thing you know, half the dash was all one color, so you didn't know what was coming, what was going.
Nice.
Like the next guy would have been completely screwed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Butt connectors, T-taps, you name it. Like just jump off of whatever. There was one time I was cruising back from Vancouver. It was probably midnight, and I'm headed to Prince George, and it just got dusk. And then I came through a city, so I didn't really need headlights. I got to the other side of the city, it's black. I go to fucking flip on my high beams, boo the flues, blackness.
No.
Why? Because he had tapped something else into that line as a power source.
No.
So as soon as I hit the high beams, it just killed all my lights. I'm doing 90 miles an hour in the
Darkness?
pitch blackness in the middle of nowhere.
You didn't like stop and like switch the fuses with
No, I had
some
to.
other
But
unimportant
there's no
thing.
street lights. We didn't have any, light noise, nothing. It was just blackness.
Oh my goodness.
So I
remember
ease
you were
the
telling-
brakes on and come to a stop.
Oh my gosh.
So I remember you were telling this story about that, and you had a pretty innovative way of fixing that in the moment. Why don't you say how you fixed that? Do you remember? Okay, I remember the Datsun used cylindrical fuses.
Oh yes.
Okay, so
No, did he just use a piece
lot
of
of people
wire?
out there that might not realize, like, if a cylindrical fuse blows out, you just take a piece of tin foil or whatever,
Wrap
it around the fucking tube, stuff it back in the thing. It's transferring power, right?
Oh my gosh. That's
That's-
a good way to
it was
burn
pretty
down your
rare.
car.
No, you're right.
Actually, before tinfoil, like if you use aluminum foil, that's pretty high amperage. So
Oh
you could have a
shoot.
fire.
Okay.
What people used to use was the cigarette liner. Like
Yeah.
inside of a package of cigarettes had a foil liner.
Oh.
You could separate it from the paper,
Yeah.
wrap a fuse in it, and put it in, and it was like equivalent to about a 20 amp fuse.
Oh, that's what?
But it would still burn
Yeah,
the
buddy.
foil if it got hot enough.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
to buy a car of that
Tip.
era and not
Yeah.
have at least 1 or 2 fuses wrapped in foil,
Yeah.
is pretty rare.
Right. Yeah, but
fucking
that's
cool.
what you had to do, and that car was that car.
That was that car.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Rob? Any shit boxes in your life?
The biggest shitbox I ever drove was a Volkswagen Rabbit Cabriolet.
Oh, I remember that.
I did not know you had that. Okay. So what made it a shit box?
There was a lot of things, man. Like, honestly, like, okay, so we did a fucking chopped coil lowering job on it.
Nice.
The car was bottomed right out on bump stops. A set of wheels from I think a Ford Escort at the time.
Okay.
With the sort of like the hub centric cap area busted out of it, so it fit over the Volkswagen.
Oh my
So
god.
so it will bolt up properly. So that was the aesthetic.
Plus, it had like premium tires with 100% contact patch.
Yeah, they were literal
100%.
racing slicks.
Wow.
That's what they look like,
No,
because
these
there
were
was
just
no
slicks.
Just
tread,
bald?
just fully bald. Okay, so like this, we
slicks.
live in Vancouver, right?
And you drove like that?
You see how much
Rain?
and snow we get here on occasion. I drove the thing through the winter, well, until it snowed.
On the
It was
bald
horrible.
tires.
Yeah. Fortunately, my commute to work wasn't very far. So that was just the beginning of it. Like, it had no defrost. It had no working wiper blades. I can't even remember if the windows rolled up or down. They always just seemed to be down.
I think they just had to be down and keep the windshield defrosted.
Yeah, I think so. I
I
think
know
that was the
trick.
thing. So the windows were always down, even in like the rain or snow. And I had I had a squeegee from a gas station that I would keep inside the car to squeegee the inside of the window because of condensation buildup. And I had to scrape the inside of my window.
Everything
Yo.
you are describing is everything that I'm currently going through with my Duts.
For real, eh?
Yes.
Man.
Like I have my squeegee. It's currently in the car, but anytime it fogs up, I'm like
Yep.
trying to clean it. And then in the winter, like it would literally ice over, and so you're scraping both inside the windshield
Yep.
and outside the windshield.
I would have to drive. I would have to drive with my head out the window.
Yep.
Just like a fucking dog, so I could see. It was all fogged. It was super fogged up, and it's like cold.
Oh
like
my
wintertime
gosh.
cold snow.
And this was not here. This was in Prince George.
No, this is
No,
here.
that was here.
Oh, here. Okay.
So that was
okay.
here. So that was early 20s.
Wow.
That was the biggest shit box that I ever drove. But actually, when I reflect back on that, it was probably one of the funnest cars that I've ever driven. And I don't know, not because it was great by any means. It sucked in many, many ways, but I didn't give a fuck. It was awesome.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because I feel like a huge part of owning a shitbox too, if you know it's a shitbox, is the enjoyment factor in that.
It's
it
like
is
you're
so
free.
funny.
It's like you have the freedom of just like not even caring.
You don't care what happens to it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, now that I've grown older, I'm starting to care about my safety. But when I was younger, this was like a few years ago. I'm like, it's fine. I don't need seatbelts. I don't need any of this stuff. If a problem arises, I'll sort it out when it happens. But like, I don't know if you experienced this driving your Datsun or any of the shit boxes, but to you, was it fun at the time?
Oh, it's definitely fun.
If
like
he
driving
said
a
it wasn't
shop
fun,
van.
he'd be lying.
Yeah.
You just don't have to care.
True.
It's amazing. And people are like, man, you got all these crazy cars. Why are you driving a van? It's like, sometimes I just don't want to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
That's
a lot
it.
to be said about that. Like it's very freeing. When you have really, really nice stuff, you know, you're like, oh shit, fuck, is it gonna rain? I don't know. Like if you get a rock ding, it's like,
Oh, it hurts your soul.
you know, or anything like that. And even so much as say going to get gas
Yeah,
in something really, really nice, you know, and this is part of it, but like, you know, now you're opening up conversation with like every stranger that, you know, feels some sort of emotion. They got to come talk to you for 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's cool, you know, whatever. But like,
gotta be in the
sometimes you
mood
just
for
don't
it.
want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's days like I'll drive my car home and I'll get my picture taken like 4 times.
Which one, the Porsche?
Yeah, people are trying to pace you and talk to you.
Oh, I can't wait till the Evo's out on the street.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Wait till
true.
that's out.
So some days you're just not into it, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's a pretty fucking elitist thing to say, but I mean, it gets exhausting.
To me, it honestly never gets exhausting. I'm like, yeah,
Well-
let's chat. Let's talk about this
Yeah,
car.
but that's- You're that
You
person.
are that
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
just naturally though. Like I don't know if it comes across that way, but both
Like,
Tim
if
and
you-
I are like a lot more introverted
No,
than
I
you
know.
are.
If you hit me up on the way to work, I'll be like, hey.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd like when I'm heading home,
You're
from
tired.
work,
You've had a long
done.
day.
I've had enough.
Yeah,
Plus, it's hard to you get tired of talking about your own shit.
that's true.
Like
That's
I get
true.
more excited about like, hey, I'm more excited about seeing other people's stuff
Yeah.
That makes
than my
sense.
stuff.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that's very real. It's we get jaded to this kind of stuff after a little while because we've had our hands on every single nut and bolt in everything that we build. So I mean, you're just kind of like, whatevs.
Yeah.
What
It
do
is-
you got?
It's
Let's take
very
a look.
true. It is true. Like even like talking about the jaded part, it's interesting because prime example. So I review a lot of cars just on my like YouTube channel. But I have driven a lot of cars, and especially hanging out here at the shop and working here, I've got to see so many cars. But it's like I've always been excited to drive, like for example, like a Ferrari Testarossa. Like it's always been in my mind. I'm like, oh, I want to drive a classic Ferrari. And like a month ago, I drove a Ferrari Testarossa, and it's like, it's It's fine. I mean,
cool.
It was, like it didn't, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? Like, I'm like supposed to be so excited. And I was like, to a certain point, like being like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. Like an 80s Ferrari.
Yeah.
But I feel like the same excitement of it starting out like when I initially got into cars versus now is so different. And I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I think those type of cars, to really appreciate them, you have to spend some time with them.
Yeah, I think so.
Like you can't just go for a half an hour or
an
hour. You got to like put it through all the different situations that you saw yourself in as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been lucky enough to be like, hey, take it out, go, so you get to go to dinner.
Like you spend a few days in it or
do all
something.
the things, like take it for a proper drive and all those. Then you really start to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But to drive it, the stuff now is just so amazing.
So good.
That if you do a head-to-head comparison, you're like, that thing's a piece of junk.
Yeah. But that's also why you have to, I feel like whenever I drive any of those cars, I have to take myself back to the time period and being like, oh, what is this like? And
because if you could do an awesome direct comparison, like that would be legitimate. Say you took out like a 1989 Camaro with a 305 TPI in it
versus
and
that,
then took
Ferrari.
the 89 Testarossa.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane.
Like
it's night and day. And I have driven like that generation.
But you get
well.
it now after having drawn, like, pick anything, like an RS6. And then you go jump in that Testarossa.
Like,
that RS6 will smash the Testarossa. And that's like a daily driven sedan.
No, you're going too far. RS6 is too much. Like
even
Toyota Camry.
Yeah,
probably. Like the one that has like 350 horsepower or something. Like the hottest Camry would give it a run for its money, honestly.
I'd say only in the quarter.
You could say that
the
about
Testarossa rips, man.
Yeah, true. It's still fast. It was still fast and fun.
That's one of those cars that you have to drive fast.
Yeah.
But off the line, you're not beating nobody.
No. It's like mid. It's really good in mid range.
That thing comes alive at like $4,000.
Yeah.
But back to the ShitBox.
Yes, back to ShitBoxes.
It is definitely a freeing feeling knowing that if you broke down, you could just get out and leave it there. And you wouldn't even care. Like, if it costs more to have your car towed than what your car's worth, that's like, you have freedom.
Yeah.
So actually talk about that, because you guys, I feel like you've mentioned to me that you left the car on the side of the road or something once. Maybe was it an Accord or something?
No. I pride myself in having never been broken down on a side road.
Really?
I always got my car home.
Okay. Oh, what?
I did the starter in our F350 in the parking lot of the Four Seasons.
That's super.
Like, I always get home.
That's funny. I feel like someone said, it wasn't on the side of the road, I think it was in a gas station that someone left the car. No?
Us.
No? I feel like I heard one of those stories. I was like, oh, you like
that sounds like a Brett story.
Or maybe it's a Spencer. I think it was a Spencer story.
Spencer
Spencer
I could see
just
that.
left the car.
I'm out.
The car broke down. I just left it. I never heard from it again. So,
oh yeah, no, it totally was it. I remember the story.
It's a Spencer story for sure. So let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. Any other thing in this topic that we can exploit?
I think we hit them all. If you wouldn't let your wife or girlfriend drive it, it's probably a ShitBox.
Yeah.
If you have to handwrite a manual on how to start the car, probably a ShitBox. What else we got?
If every moment that you're driving it, you're concerned if it's going to stop at any moment, it's a ShitBox.
If you see a cop and you immediately turtle, like,
no grab.
probably a ShitBox.
Yeah.
What about if it has the check engine light always on?
That's debatable.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Could be anything.
Because it's like, have you guys seen the picture even of, speaking of the first, have you guys seen the pictures of first owner of like a BMW E90 versus like the fifth owner? It's like a doctor is the first owner and then the fifth owner is like some like crackhead.
Same as the G35.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me actually, hold on. Give me a few seconds. Let me see if I can. Also another thing. Paint too, like dents. If your car has, is there like a dent ratio or paint coming off ratio that makes the car a ShitBox? Because I have my E90 It's a 328 XI, 2007. And it was completely stock. It was good. It was okay looking. But then the other day I got in a dent. I got in a dent. I got a dent on the car, but it was like I backed up and I didn't see this thing that scraped off like some side of the bumper, the paint. And yeah, so now you can just see the massive scratch, and it's almost like a click that happened in my head. Now I'm like, oh crap, this thing is a shit box. Yeah, like it was very interesting. I'm like, oh no. So would you call that a shit box if there's any damage to paint or?
I don't think so.
I would say only, like, for me, I would say that is if you've left it for a certain period of time and you're just like, eh.
Yeah, like that's the new identity of the car.
Yeah,
like you're not fixing
what it is
now.
now.
No intentions
Now it's a shit box.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're like, oh man, I got to fix this like ASAP.
Yeah.
Like
you've cultivated a collection of them over a year or two.
Yeah.
That's a shit box.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those kind of things, like every little thing that compounds after another one,
yes,
it just automatically starts adding up. You tally it up, and boom, you have a shit box. You know,
That
it
is
doesn't
so
take very
true.
many, depending on the level of what they are.
Yeah.
But it's funny how many people that actually have nice cars will ask us, like me generally. It's like, hey, do you know of any shit boxes for sale? Like everybody with a nice car still wants to own a shit box.
Yep.
Yeah, very
They want
true.
that freedom,
from
man.
to work. They don't want to care if it gets broken into, stolen. They can mile it out. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just get another one.
Yeah, they just drive it till it dies.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So
the whole
shit
point.
boxes serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, they do for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Like you guys said, like not caring about it, like have that in-care attitude. You can smash a shopping cart into it and be like, eh.
I mean, this is a topic that we talk about often in our shop. Like we all like, oh man, I just want a fucking some sort of cheap shit box.
Yeah.
It's funny because like
All the time.
Every time the van gets like a new little scuff on it, Brett or somebody will make a comment, be like, "Oh, what happened here?" I'm like, "I don't know," and I'll walk away. But if you did that to my Mercedes, like, what
Oh
happened here?
my
I'd be like,
gosh.
we'd have a full-on investigation.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what's it called? For shit boxes, so cost is not really a deterrent.
I think you can turn anything into a shit box.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Look
Any
at that
car.
Supra.
Which
That
one?
thing presents itself like $1 million.
The Mark
and it's
IV?
a shit box.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
We
Because of the
unshitboxed
mods
it.
that were done to it, it is worse now than it ever was.
And the way it was.
I mean,
executed.
actually now at this
So-
point you put enough time
Yeah,
into
we
it.
put enough time in.
It's not a
now to
shit
clean
box
it up,
now, but
going
it
through
was.
that thing. Oh,
So to you guys, what made that car a shit box? Because initially when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah.
But
visually you're like, dang, that looks cool.
yeah,
super
Skin
bad,
deep, man.
Super bad wiring.
wiring was pretty bad.
drywall screws and everything, zip ties,
Yeah.
Velcro,
holding
all-
shit together.
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
All the tabs are broken off everything.
Yeah.
So the thing's literally just sit. It's like a display piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Static. It's a static
Like I'm
piece of
trying to take the
artwork.
dash apart, and it's like, why can't I find a screw? Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. Oh, shit, there's no screws.
Just
Click.
pull it up. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you
man.
guys said, it's also a compounding thing too. Because,
And that's a nice car,
yeah.
but still, shitbox.
Yeah. And that was an expensive car too, right?
Expensive shitbox.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Doesn't matter what it costs, man.
And like, there's this, speaking of shit boxes, so I was also doing the research for this episode, and I found that there is literally a shit box rally. Like, it's called the shit box rally.
Is it?
And it is
That's cool.
amazing. It's what's really cool about it was, and they're not paying us to say this, but I think it's really cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should start something here. It's an Australian rally, and the car has to be like $1,500 or less, and they pretty much just go driving around in the Australian back roads and like camping. And they make it a very cheap and affordable rally, and it's actually big. But the really cool thing about it is they raise money for cancer, which is pretty awesome, like cancer research. And everyone has to raise, like every car has to raise like, I think $2,000 or something. And so they've raised like $38 million actually.
Wow.
So it's a pretty, for cancer research, so it's a pretty cool concept. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to do something like that.
They have something similar to that in North America.
Oh, really? Which one?
What's it called? The International Race of Lemons or something?
Yeah, they got the
the
lemons
Concours
race.
de Lemons, or Lemon 24 Hours of Lemons.
And they have the other one that we were actually looking at potentially getting involved in. What was it? It was...
Is it the Gambler?
No, it's something lemons too, isn't it?
No, it was something. No, Gambler's another
Gambler
cool
500?
one.
Yeah, I want to do that one
That
too.
almost sounds kind of like what you're referring to in Australia.
Yeah, I
like
think
it's like
so.
an off-road kind of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, originally that's what we bought the E36 for. Was to
Oh,
go
really?
lemons racing.
Oh, dude, let's do it. I'm so down.
It'd be fun,
Yeah.
and it's the same idea. It's got to be like a certain value, and then different modifications that you do, or like plus or minus its value and its ranking system.
Yeah.
So
That sounds like a really fun time. Even I think 24 Hours of Lemons. Is that 24 Hours of Lemons? Is that what it's
yeah,
called?
lemons, I think.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
I want to do that
Yeah.
one so bad.
Yeah.
Because it's just fun. I mean, you just bring the ShitBox and so you can technically buy a car of $5,000, but you have to sell off pretty much everything and make it like a $1,500 car or something. Something like that. I don't know how much you can sell off a $5,000 car, but like you can change it in so many ways. You can kind of like
Well, it's kind
modulate.
of like the one we were looking into it and reading the materials is like you can put a splitter on it, but based on what material it was made out of,
Yeah.
was the points ranking.
Oh.
So if you made out of plywood, it didn't take any points, but if
Yeah.
you made out of like aluminum or carbon,
Carbon. Oof.
then it started adding
Minus.
points to all your things, which moved you in your classification.
Yeah, and I think the
couldn't
way
use
it
it.
kind of worked was that there was like a maximum allowable value that it could be, and once it exceeded that, then you kind of got like docked positions on the endurance race kind of thing. So like the idea was to sort of like, be within a certain limit,
Yeah.
or under. And yeah, so if you bought like a base car of, say $4,500, but the max cap is 5, and then those point values add certain value of dollar value to it, you can't do very many mods, right? But if you buy $1,000 car, you have $4,000 worth
do
of
whatever you
point
want.
mods that you could
Yeah.
do to be able to sort of create a better race car. So I think in that one, the E36, well, that's why we bought the E36 Coupe originally, was for that, because we all know a BMW 3 Series is a really good platform to
so they had,
begin
like
with.
the best brakes, suspension, and all those things within that class.
Mm.
But they even had restrictions on tools that you could use to build the car. You weren't allowed to use a TIG welder or I think a brake press.
Yeah, because
And
that
then
kind of
they even-
classified you as like being a
Measuring-
professional. Yeah, it was so like everything wire feed,
amazing.
wire feed, or like
But they even specified like as Harbor Freight as the level of wire feed that you
Nice.
could have.
That's pretty awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think they do like go heavily on like safety equipment.
Safety you can do
Just so
anything
you don't
want.
die.
There's no restrictions on safety.
Yeah, like roll cage,
So like roll cage,
helmet,
fire suppression,
Yeah.
all that stuff is wide open. You can
Yeah.
do as much as you want.
You're talking about this really makes me want to get back into that again.
I say we should do it. That would be so
100%.
fun.
We have all the time in the world.
So what is left for that E36? Because we literally stripped it apart, right?
We just have to put a cage in it.
We got to put a cage in it.
Oh, sick.
That would be it.
Do they have any event in Canada or no?
I think they had one in
There-
Calgary.
it was
and then
Calgary.
the other closest one was Seattle.
Seattle, that would be amazing.
That's kind of one of the unfortunate things about where we live is
Yeah.
we have to travel to find any kind of like road courses or anything like that around
And I
here.
think you need at least 4 people on your team.
Oh,
So our original team turned into be a bunch of flakes. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But let us know if you guys want to see us do that. I think that would be a fun video series.
Oh, I mean, we're just
surprised there
talking
is
about
one.
this right now. It gets me fired up, man. I want to do it for sure.
Yeah.
One day.
it's probably the
But-
most amount of track time that you can get for almost no money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
Thinking
cheap.
about it, because like the entry fee for the race
Like
was like
$300.
was like almost
That's not
nothing.
bad.
For
The car
24
costs
hours of
almost
time.
That's
nothing.
insane.
Right?
That's pretty cool.
You can't beat
No.
that any other way.
No.
So even if you go out there and you lose and you're just testing your car,
Yeah.
you can't afford that amount of track time.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's true.
I would use that series just to dial my car in.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're out there in the evil Evo. Pull it into the pits. Let's do some.
Once
mods.
they see the evil Evo, disqualified instantly.
Oh, they have an unlimited class.
Oh,
You can bring whatever you want.
Oh, hello.
You can bring whatever you want, but like
Why?
if you
Some
exceed the
shitbox
point
is
value,
gonna smack you for sure.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of contact in these races.
yeah, heck yeah,
There's a
man.
lot of
And you
body
become
contact.
a target too. Like,
Yeah.
yo, that guy's got a fancy car. Let's hit it.
Yeah. They place bets on
Yeah.
your
It's like,
car.
Yeah.
it's like scuffing your buddy's new sneakers.
Oh,
Ooh,
shoot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
Oh.
would be for sure. So
Or we can probably take the
You don't wanna
Euro
invest too
to
much.
it.
Yeah, let's take
Take the
Yeah.
Lambo to it. That'll
Yeah.
be fun.
just drive over everybody.
Yeah. Oh my
shit.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else about shit boxes before we end this episode?
Everybody should have one.
Everybody should have one.
Yep.
You'd probably be lying if you said you didn't.
Yep. Very true. Do you
Yeah.
ever grow out of shit boxes though?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
no.
Like
I-
every
I-
car that comes in here that we are going to do a big redo on, I think everybody takes a turn beating the shit out of it before we redo it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why not?
It's just all laughs and giggles.
fun.
Yeah. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you
Awesome.
got to take
Yeah.
your girlfriend to dinner.
Oh, that's the
That's
part
not
that
funny
sucks.
anymore.
Oh no. Or like there's no AC. Oof. I've gotten in trouble for that.
That's when the reality of owning a shitbox kicks
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, which is actually funny. So the BMW, it didn't have AC, and I kind of forgot it here. And we were supposed to go to dinner. I didn't forget it. I had to take the van home, the shop van home, to put my LS engine into it, which was very interesting. But the really cool thing is, after I was like, crap, we don't have a car to use today. I was like, wait a second, we have the shop van. And that was a really hot day. But the saving grace for me was that there was air conditioning in the
Oh
van.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, this is even better than the BMW.
Yeah.
BMW who?
Yeah.
So-
What would your wife think?
I know. She was like, oh my, she was so embarrassed
Yeah.
getting in and out of it. But I was like, it's fine. She did like the AC.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, this is amazing. So
The van has some icy AC.
yes, it
You'll
is so
probably
nice.
only get away with that once or twice.
know, yeah.
Elvis. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You'd
Oh my
be sleeping on the couch, fella.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? So with that said, we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up. If you have any ideas for us for future podcast episodes, leave it in the description below. Send us an email at media@trickfactory.com. Yeah, we will see you guys next week. Bye.